of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law is enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice and to attend the meetings of public bodies in which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of the Act, the FLBOE Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published on February 16th, 2025, and posted on the district website at www.flboe.com, published in the board's designated online media outlet newspapers, the Record and Star Ledger, filed with the clerk of the Borough of Fort Lee, and mailed to all persons, if any, who have requested said notice. Please be advised that this meeting is being taped and may be broadcasted on local TV and the district's website at a future date. The Open Public Meeting Act allows for remote participation at board meetings and defines meeting as any gathering, whether corporeal or by means of communication equipment, which is attended by or open to all of the members of the public body, held with the intent on the part of the members of the body present to discuss or act as a unit upon the specific public business of that body. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Byers-King. Ms. Colback. Mrs. Curry.
Here.
Mr. Knight. Mrs. Cote.
Here.
Mr. Lopez. Ms. Morel.
Here.
Mr. Rubino.
Here.
Mrs. Richter.
Here. The board will be convening to executive session to discuss legal, personnel, and other confidential matters. The board will reconvene into public session at approximately 7:30 p.m. I have a motion to go into executive session.
Motion.
Second.
Motion Curry, second Rubino. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice and to attend the meetings of public bodies in which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of the Act, the Fort Lee Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published on February 16th, 2025, and posted on the district website at www.flboe.com, published in the board's designated online media outlet, newspapers, the Record and the Star Ledger, filed with the clerk of the Borough of Fort Lee, and mailed to all persons, if any, who have requested said notice. Please be advised that this meeting is being taped and may be broadcast on local TV and the district's website at a future date. The Open Public Meeting Act allows for remote participation at board meetings and defines meeting as any gathering, whether corporeal or by means of communication equipment, which is attended by or open to all of the members of a public body, held with the intent on the part of the members of the body present to discuss or act as a unit upon the specific public business of that body. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Byers-King. Ms. Colback. Mrs. Curry.
Here.
Mr. Knight. Mrs. Cote.
Here.
Mr. Lopez.
Here.
Ms. Morel.
Here.
Mr. Rubino.
Here.
Mrs. Richter.
Here. The board convened executive session at 6:30 p.m. to discuss legal, personnel, and other confidential matters. Ms. Collazo, will you begin by sharing the superintendent's report?
Yes, thank you, Ms. Richter. Good evening, members of the board, staff, families, and community members attending this meeting in person and remotely. We are unbelievably now just 1 month away from the opening of school, and our teams have been working diligently to ensure that we are fully staffed and prepared for a successful start to the school year. From staffing to facility readiness, we are focused on making sure our students and staff are welcome back to safe, organized, and a well-supported learning environment. To our families awaiting information regarding courtesy busing, please be advised that communication will be shared this week. We thank you for your patience and understanding as we work through ensuring that we have a safe and viable plan for this school year. In regard to our harassment, intimidation, and bullying or HIB report, we have had one reported case which was found to be unfounded. As for safety compliance, all required safety and security drills for July 2025 have been completed in accordance with state regulations and requirements. Additionally, I am required to provide at this time the Student Safety Data System or SSDS report for the second period of the 24-25 school year. Across all schools in our district for the second period, there were 99 incidents reported, 81 incidents led to student removal, 5 involved restraint or seclusion, 64 alleged HIB cases were investigated, 53 HIB training programs were conducted, and we facilitated 115 programs related to harassment, intimidation, and bullying prevention. Tonight, we are pleased to welcome the TLE group, who are here to present updated information regarding the progress of our district's strategic plan. I would like to extend a sincere thank you to everyone who participated in our community forums and responded to the thought exchange. Your input and partnership are truly appreciated and reflect a strong commitment to the future of our schools. Following the TLE presentation, I will share results from our Spring 2025 New Jersey Graduation Proficiency Assessment and Spring 2025 Access Assessment. Both assessments will provide us with essential data that guide our instructional planning and help us set targeted goals for student learning and achievement. So at this time, I'd like to invite Dr. Michelle Aquino, Dr. James McLaughlin, and Michael Klimko from the TLE group to the podium to present on the district's strategic planning process.
Good evening, and thank you to the Board of Education for the opportunity to be here again with you tonight. We are honored to support your district in this important strategic planning process. And we know how deeply you care about the success of your students, your staff, and the community. And it's been such a privilege to engage with your stakeholders in the varied forums that we had, as well as your leadership team, as we join you in shaping the vision of this work together. Tonight, we're really happy and excited to share an overview of the work that we've completed thus far, which are really the key themes that have emerged, share some of the key feedback pieces, and then, of course, the foundational goals and objectives that will guide the next phase of the district's journey, which will be developing action steps that will annually see the work through. So thank you again for your trust and partnership in this work. So Jason, are you able to go to the next? Okay. So just as a quick review of this as we are going through, we are going to go through the process of strategic planning. We are going to share with you some of the feedback from the different forums that we've had, and then really review with you what the goals were that were the priority goals, as well as the objectives for each of those. So, of course, just supporting the development of the strategic plan that not only crystallizes your district's mission, we really look at it, strategic planning, like a four-legged chair. Each of these critical areas really serve as the underpinnings for the plan, for the plan to continue to be relevant. So what we wanted to really do is make sure that through the process, your district's mission and vision have been a part of the work through the state of the schools. And then, of course, identifying the stakeholders, building consensus around that shared vision, identifying clear goals for student achievement, operational efficacy, and stakeholder engagement. And then the feedback from each stakeholder has really been key, and then creating objectives as well. Next slide, please. So it's been a multi-phase process as we've come, and just as a quick overview of where we've done, we've of course had our initial consultations with stakeholders, looking at the state of the schools, making sure that the state of the schools was present before any of the analyses that we were doing, which was really the strengths, the opportunities, the aspirations, and the results are really important because we will be utilizing that with the leadership team as we are looking at the action steps that will be a part of that comprehensive vision. We were able to take all of the stakeholder feedback to really develop the key strategic goals, which I believe Ms. Clauso had brought forward to the committee as well, and then drafted objectives for each goal. So this evening, we're really proud to be able to present that information, and then hopefully, as we are continuing the journey, provide some professional development and work with the leadership team on strategizing what those action steps should look like as we are moving forward as a district. On the next slide, just again, a reminder of what the ROI was with the work that we've done, and we really condensed the process and made sure we got to it. We wanted to go within the timeline that you had brought forward. So we brought the State of the Schools template and worked with the team on the State of the Schools. There is a dedicated webpage which we have linked there, which has all of the progress documents. So what we made sure we did was provide all of the feedback and thoughts shared by any community member and made that very visible for the community to be able to see what others were prioritizing. Creating the draft plan on a page, which I know Mr. Klumpo had distributed, which will really be your guiding document, and really making it a user-friendly document that you can hand it out anywhere that you are, hanging in any classroom. People can keep it in their hands at all times. And then, of course, going through that with you all this evening. Next slide, please.
So the next number of slides, we're going to look at the different questions that were posed to the stakeholders, the input that was gathered. It's not an exhaustive view of that. Certainly that can be seen on the board report that's on the webpage that Michelle just alluded to. However, we thought it was good for the purpose of tonight to just revisit the highlights of the input that was received through the various phases of the strategic plan process. Next slide, please. So you can see on this page here, we were asking what the strengths were. We were asking the community to identify those things that they held dear, that are present in the district, things that we would assume those stakeholders do not want to see go away, that they would like to see continue and to build on, because these are strengths that, and you can see from the ratings, that many agreed upon. And there's actually two slides, another one will come up in a little while. Diversity came up over and over again in various forms as a strength of the district, whether it be student diversity or the diversity of the community, the melting pot benefits that provides to the students who attend school here, and to the whole flavor of education as it exists in Fort Lee. Next slide, please. The community itself was also identified as strengths of the district. The teachers who provide instruction to the students and who support the students, the way the community comes together around the students, and the appreciation, again, of diversity that the whole community holds. That's not always the case in communities that diversity is seen as such a strength, but it certainly was emphasized here over and over and over again. Next slide, please. So again, here it talks about the student body, what students bring from their own experiences, how they contribute to one another, and how they contribute to the educational picture that exists here at Fort Lee. Next slide, please. Continuing with strengths of the district, collaboration among the faculty and relationships with staff. Staff was really identified, I think, by just about everyone as an area of appreciation, as an area of strength for the district, whether it was commenting on teachers' dedication, how they support students, how students feel they can interact with their teachers and other staff who are in our schools, and basically how staff members here make themselves better, and in so doing, make our students' lives better. Next slide, please. So we move from this baseline of what is valued in the district, what do we want to make sure is maintained and built upon, and move to what a strategic plan aims to do, which is next steps. And to do that, challenges were put in front of the community, and key challenges were highlighted. And so the next slides will address those challenges. Here, you can see word themes that came about through this part of the process, where these words came up over and over again in different types of responses. And it's a good one look. You'll see this slide for another area of the process as well. But it's a good one look to see what some of those key words are that tell us where challenges lie. Next slide, please. Here, looking again at the thoughts that were shared and rated by so many. There are thoughts about the facilities and the infrastructure of the district, recruiting and retaining talent and teachers. You'll see that in different forms. Turnover in central office, and there are thoughts about administration and maintaining a quality administration as well. Next slide, please. The challenges lead naturally to what the aspirations will be. What are our hopes and dreams? What would we like to see happen over these next 3 years? And what are we asking the school district to adopt in terms of next steps? And so here again are key words that came about through this part of the process, preparing an emphasis on academics, providing opportunities, a commitment to excellence, communication. These words, again, are commonly found in many different separate thoughts that were expressed by the stakeholders who participated in the process. Next slide, please. Here, again, we can see some of the samples of the thoughts that were shared and rated upon. Important that students have opportunities, keeping qualified teachers, and being communicative. I think that was actually in our last time with you, one of the themes as well that was emphasized was the importance of ongoing communication in all its forms. Next slide, please. So, identifying challenges, identifying next action steps, and what are the priorities? Because obviously there can be many areas that people want to address, but in order to be effective, the school district needs to highlight those specific areas to concentrate on. As we mentioned at the beginning of the whole process, the whole idea of a strategic plan is to have a workable plan of action, one that can be revisited because there are many distractions that come up in the course of any school district year where we have to revisit and say, what are our priorities? So really this priority piece is that last step before writing the objectives. And if we could go to the next slide, we'll see safety. Safety came up as an absolute priority. And I'm sorry, there was an item there before when we were talking about thoughts that dealt with safety as well. This is a priority, I think, loud and clear. This came up as a #1 issue, and one, again, that you can see from the ratings, many people emphasized. Staff, retaining and recruiting quality staff to work with students. Staff was identified as a strength, and it's clear that the community wants that to continue to be a strength, but that takes effort, and it has to be a priority in order for that to happen. Next slide, please. Again, you'll see redundancy, which is good. You want to see redundancy in thoughts when you have a process like this, because it continues to provide basically a reliable process. The more we see repetitive thoughts, the more that we know that there is agreement around these issues. So we again see safety and we see staff being emphasized in these samples of thoughts that were shared. Next slide, please. Supporting teachers, student discipline, which I think also was encompassed within the safety of students, not only physical safety, but their emotional safety in school, and making sure that the environment in school, whether it's through school discipline, but also, as you can see here, compassion, that we create learning environments where students want to be in school, feel good being in school, and are set to learn in the process. The environment, as you can see here at the end of the sample, again, creating a safe and friendly and comfortable environment for students. Next slide, please. And here again, the word grid, which shows you those, again, repetitive words that came out through the various statements in this process. Next slide.
We met last time and we had shared from that what the summary of priorities were, and then the SOAR analysis let us drill down a little bit more. But this summary of priorities, as Jim had just shared, certainly reflect the values and the insights of all the participants to provide that foundation for the strategic plan, of course, with the goal of overall success. So on the next slide, you'll see the priority goals that were identified. And I think you saw these goals through all of these different, through all of the different forums. You had a chance to look at the website with everybody's feedback, and it's every thought, right? So you're seeing hundreds of thoughts on each one. You're seeing a lot of overlap. So to Jim's point, that's very good, because that means that people are really aligned in their work as we are kind of scratching the surface on this. So the 4 goals really fall into 4 buckets. The first, of course, communication, enhancing parent, staff, and community involvement. The second goal, security and safety, loud and clear as an opportunity, loud and clear as an aspiration and a priority for the district, ensuring safety and security in schools. School climate and culture, foster a supportive and nurturing environment for students and staff. And then, of course, teacher recruitment and development, again, saw as one of the greatest strengths, but then that retention component was definitely a layer of an aspiration and opportunity. And there are further layers to peel back in making sure that that work is focused on for the next several years. So attract, retain, and support high quality educators. Why? To improve student achievement. That's why everyone's walking through the doors each day. So on the next slide, what we're doing is, and you'll see this also on your plan on a page, it's the beginnings of the work, is that each goal has that goal, which I just reviewed, but then of course, each objective. So we took the feedback through all of the forums and crafted 3 objectives for each goal. And in the first goal of communication, one was improving communication channels. The second is enhancing collaborative opportunities between all stakeholders. And then the third is strengthening relationships and partnerships. So one may say, well, what are the next steps? Because they seem broad. This is where we take the results and the aspirations, those 2 thought exchanges, and we'll be joining your administrative team during your administrative retreat, where really they're going to brainstorm what the different actions will be to focus on the upcoming year. And then we will basically do it in a thematically chunked way to create action steps. So one example, when we were reviewing, as just a sample, when we were reviewing this, we will give the example of saying, well, when we were reviewing the data, not knowing everyone's, having a chance to meet with the admin team, we immediately saw, we had to focus on establishing streamlined and accessible platforms to provide feedback, but then also it seemed like there was a high interest in a digital suggestion box or community forums. Things of that nature seem to be a priority. And you make it an action step, because the beauty of bringing the whole admin team is everybody has to lean into that action step for the year, right? So those things aren't just happening at the district level, they are happening at the school levels. Different folks can decide what that's going to look like as they're carrying out their work. The next slide looks at the goal of safety and security. And when we looked at that, 3 objectives prioritized there would be strengthening security protocols and personnel. So there was a lot of talk about possibly increasing security personnel. There was also a lot of feedback about training and partnerships. So that felt like a really strong objective for the community to see, the board sees that as a goal. Optimizing supervision and infrastructure. So certainly that is building based as well as district based. That could take a look, you may see things about security cameras and programs when we return again, or you may see things about training, how people are being placed throughout the building, what does that look like, and each, really drilling that down to an action step. And remember, these action steps will be rewritten each year of the strategic plan. So you'll write the action steps, they'll be presented to the community, but then administration will report back at the close of the year to talk about how they did to achieve those action steps. And then cultivating a proactive safety culture, right? That's gotta be everyone's job, and how is administration going to bring that into the staff to make sure that everyone knows their role in that culture of safety. The next slide talks about, of course, fostering a supportive and nurturing environment for students and staff. So how did the feedback look when we were writing that? The first, integrating comprehensive social and emotional learning programs. Enhancing student achievement and access to opportunities. Also, students feel better when they are achieving and when they have opportunities to be a part of the school or opportunities in the academics. And then, of course, promoting a culture of wellness and support. And then the fourth goal is about, in the next slide, is about teacher recruitment and development. So enhancing professional growth and collaboration. That came through everywhere. Really making sure that people feel like their professional work is being fed through the school, that they're able to collaborate. Fostering a supportive and inclusive work environment to implement a vision for high expectations and high quality instruction. Again, the reason we walk through the doors every day as educators, student learning. And then a big piece of feedback was a development of recognition among staff, but then also advancement opportunities, and what can that look like? What can an action step look like for that? So again, those objectives and these goals were really after looking at all of the feedback through all of the stakeholders, and we really appreciated the opportunity to do that, but we also appreciated how aligned people were in seeing people's feedback and then reading it as a priority. And I think that's really the first step to success in this journey that you're on. So in closing, from our lens of where we sit today, we want to thank you again for your commitment to this process, because making sure that it's something that everyone has with them at all time and knows the direction, it's a great thing for a board, for a staff, for anyone to really talk about when there's ideas and say, but how does that fit on our plan on the page and what the alignment is? Because this should be driving everything you're doing, from your hiring to your school budget presentation to even as far as, your reports at board meetings, reports to board to talk about how everything you're doing links into that work. So we're excited about the path ahead and look forward to continuing this work with you. And at this time, we're really happy to open it up for any questions that you may have.
Just had a quick question about action steps. You said we'll revisit them on an annual basis, and that would be administration's honest assessment of the progress on each action step. Would that include community input as well each year, or is it just admin's assessment?
It's a great question, and I think that you can certainly have that conversation about the community input and how that would be garnered, right, in the best way possible. I think first and foremost, the assessment of it, so once they're developed, they'll certainly be presented to you by administration to share with you what the district is committing to in 1 year. And then probably our recommendation would be to revisit it late winter, early spring, and then again at the close of the year, because what's really important is to say midway through the year, this is what we've accomplished, but this is still what our next steps are, and then talk about that again at the close of the year. And that has to really come from the feedback from administration, coming together and saying, these are the things that we committed to, and this is how you see it in action. And that's got to be presented. I think the most appropriate way, of course, is starting the school year with your strategic plan and action steps, but then also presenting it to the community, likely through board meetings, but certainly as a district, we'll decide the best path. And it could even be, hey, from a thought exchange perspective, or however you garner your community feedback in the most effective, I think it should be two-way. We will always recommend that because it's transparent, right? There's no denying when you look at the forum feedback, there's no mystery behind it. Everyone, as long as no one's named and there's no inappropriate language, everyone can see each other's thoughts. And you know really what the top priorities should be. So that I think is a really novel idea to be able to bring community feedback.
I think that some of the work that's in here is also integrated. So when we talk about communication as being part of goals, that the communication that will happen both at the district and at the school level, whether it's through newsletters or through a community forum or through other types of events that the school has, they will continue, and they being the school leaders, to work with the community in all of its pockets, in all of its separate school pieces, to revisit these goals and to get feedback as this is going. So that goal of communication is embedded in here so that there should be no mystery by the end of the year whether or not people agree. A device such as Thought Exchange can be used as well to garner the assessment of the community, which is a data point in itself as to whether or not these action steps are being made.
Also, just to add to that, if you took a look at the goals, I'm sure you can envision each one of those goals is kind of aligned to a certain committee on the board. And so along the way, what we can also do is meet in committee and share action steps, particularly whether it is pertinent to the curriculum committee, pertinent to the school security committee. So that is how we can have a feedback loop as well. And also, as Michelle and Jim mentioned, at certain points in the year, do community presentations to get feedback.
Any other board members have questions? Oh, good, Amy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, TLE. So you are all going to now review our presentation based on the results from our spring 2025 NJGPA and spring 2025 access results. So I'm pleased to present these results to the community. These assessments are meant to provide valuable insights into our students' academic progress and help us identify both our successes and areas where we can continue to grow. Next slide, please, Jason. Thank you. So I will first present student performance results from our 2025 Access Administration. Access stands for Assessing Comprehension and Communication in English State to State, and it is a national assessment tool used to measure how well our multilingual learners are progressing in their journey toward English proficiency. For us, a multilingual learner is a student who is eligible for English as a second language or ESL and bilingual services. Next slide, please. Access is given annually to multilingual learners in grades K through 12. It measures language proficiency across 4 critical domains: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. It's important to know that this test is administered to students whether or not parents agree for their child to receive ESL and bilingual services. Next slide, please. Students are scored on 6 levels of proficiency. Our goal is to move students through these 6 levels, with levels 4, 5, and 6 expanding, bridging, and reaching respectively, indicating students are approaching or have achieved English proficiency. To exit our ESL and bilingual program, a student must meet a series of criteria, One being scoring an overall composite score of 4.5 or higher on the access assessment. Next slide, please. This slide shows the participation rate of the spring 2025 access test. Out of the 605 eligible test takers, we received 580 valid scores, which is a 95.9% participation rate. Next slide, please. To give a bit more context to the data that I'm going to present, this is an overview of our ML student SEERs in program based on their grade level and valid access scores. As you can see, the majority of our K through 4 ML students have been in the program for just 1 year. And the numbers are lower at the intermediate school, and there's a bit more balanced distribution in grades 7 and 8 and 9 through 12. Next slide, please. And now for our 2025 access results. This visual representation shows the distribution across achievement levels, with our strongest performance in the expanding level across most grade spans. Next slide, please. This slide introduces Fort Lee's access results from the spring of 2025. The data is presented by grade level band and proficiency level. Fort Lee tested 580 multilingual learners across all grade levels, with most MLs being in the elementary grades. I'm pleased to report that across all grade levels, the majority of our students performed in the developing and expanding levels. Grades 7 and 8 show particularly strong performance, with 47.83% at the expanding level. And we see opportunities to increase performance of students reaching the bridging and reaching levels, particularly in grades 5 through 12. Next slide, please. This chart shows a comparison of performance trends over the last 3 years with respect to the percentage of K through 6 students that score a 4, 5, and 6. Kindergarten shows consistent growth, reaching 33% proficiency in 2025. Grade 4 demonstrates excellent progress with 66% scoring 4 through 6, which is an 8% increase since 2023. And grades 1, 2, 3, and 5 are showing that in these particular grade levels, we perhaps need to do some additional exploration and intervention. It's important to know that this data is not disaggregated by the number of years students have been receiving ESL or bilingual services. So that's a data point we'll need to explore further. Next slide, please. Grades 7 through 12 access data reflects a similar trend of rising proficiency scores in some grade levels. Grade 10 shows a remarkable improvement with a 37% increase from 2024, reaching 60% proficiency. Grades 8, 9, and 11 also show strong overall growth since 2023. Next slide, please. This slide represents a breakdown of spring 2025 access performance by subgroup. Students with multiple racial identities perform exceptionally well, with 67% scoring 4 through 6, and we also see positive representation across many different demographic groups. Next slide, please. This slide shows a comparison of subgroup performance between the spring of 2024 and the spring of 2025 access results. We do see quite more than doubling their proficiency rate with our Black and African American students. And as we can see, there's some slight improvement in other subgroups, and in other subgroups, there is some work to be done. Next slide, please. This slide further details subgroup performance, highlighting different subgroups, specifically students with IEPs, economically disadvantaged students, and students with 504s. However, since the number of students with 504s who receive ESL bilingual services is less than 10, we cannot report on performance of this subgroup, and you will see that asterisk on additional slides. Next slide, please. This continuation further details subgroup performance, highlighting different subgroups of students, specifically students with IEPs, economically disadvantaged students, and students with 504s, of comparison of their performance. Next slide, please. So now for notable achievements with regards to the access data. The majority of students in all grade level spans are progressing through developing and expanding levels. And we also see positive trends across multiple grade levels over 3 years. And several subgroups are showing improvement year over year. Next slide, please. To support our multilingual learners, we will implement a number of supports in the 2025-2026 school year. In September, we will implement a new K-4 ESL curriculum, as well as a new K-5 English Language Arts curriculum. We will adopt the Cengage Meeting program, which is specifically designed for ESL and bilingual students. We are also looking to increase our K-6 ESL and bilingual staff to reduce ESL class sizes in the elementary grades. We will continue to provide supplemental tools and targeted professional development. And as we await federal funding geared towards supporting our MLs, we will look to continue offering our summer and after-school tutoring programs for additional support. Next slide, please. And now we will shift to student performance on the spring 2025 administration of the NJGPA. NJGPA stands for New Jersey Graduation Proficient Assessment. Next slide, please. The NJGPA is a state mandated test. It is administered to all 11th graders and evaluates their readiness for graduation in English Language Arts, or ELA, and mathematics. ELA is aligned to grade 10 New Jersey Student Learning Standards. Math is aligned to Algebra 1 and Geometry New Jersey Student Learning Standards. Next slide, please. Students who don't initially meet the minimum required score that is set by the state have multiple pathways to meet the state's assessment requirement through multiple pathways, such as retaking the test, taking alternative competency assessments, or portfolio appeals. It is important to know, though, that at this time, in order to be considered for a portfolio appeal, students must sit for the NJGPA. And as you can see at the bottom, this legislation is pending state board approval in October. This slide reflects Fort Lee's NJGPA participation rate. It shows both the number of students tested as well as the percentage of valid scores. Fort Lee shows excellent participation rates, anywhere from 98 to 100% across our both subjects and grades. Next slide, please. This chart shows a comparison between Fort Lee's performance on the NJGPA and the state's performance by grade. And as you can see, Fort Lee significantly outperforms the state average in grade 11. And unfortunately, we can't release the performance of our grade 12 students because the group that was assessed in grade 12 is less than 10. Next slide, please. These district-wide results reinforce that Fort Lee consistently outperforms state averages while identifying math as our primary focus area as we move forward. Next slide, please. And here you will see grade 11 shows strong ELA performance at 89.7% graduation readiness and math at 70.4% readiness. Next slide, please. This chart shows a comparison in performance in English Language Arts and Math between the 2024 and 2025 NJGPA administrations. And as you can see, ELA performance remains strong in grade 11. Next slide, please. This is a 3-year view showing how student graduation readiness levels have changed over time. It actually allows us to assess whether our instructional strategies are leading to long-term improvement. Over 3 years, English Language Arts has maintained excellence while math shows some variability. The overall trend indicates stable high performance in the English Language Arts, and once again, as mentioned before, the need for sustained improvement in math. This slide focuses on English Language Arts NJGPA results by subgroup, comparing performance between 2024 and 2025. We see positive trends in English Language Arts performance across most subgroups, with over 75% of students achieving graduation readiness in every subgroup. Next slide, please. This continuation further breaks down our performance by subgroup in English Language Arts. These results show positive trends across all subgroups, with particular success in supporting our students with disabilities who grew remarkably from 46% to 67%, which is incredible progress that we want to sustain. This slide shifts to math, comparing subgroup performance from 2024 to 2025. We see growth in our Black or African American population, and there is some work to be done in other subgroups. Next slide, please. This slide provides a full picture of how our other subgroups are performing in math year over year. We are happy to see growth in performance in all subgroups, again, especially with our students with disabilities. Next slide, please. So looking at this year's NJGPA results, we've identified several key takeaways. Fort Lee students consistently and overwhelmingly continue to outperform the state average. We found the majority of students who took the NJGPA were deemed graduation ready in both ELA and math, with especially strong performance in English language arts. We also saw considerable year-over-year growth in ELA performance across most subgroups. One of the most encouraging areas of progress came from our students with disabilities who showed significant improvement. That said, we do recognize that there is some work to be done, particularly in mathematics. So we'll continue to explore strategies on how to best assist students to progress in awareness in both content areas. Next slide, please. And as part of our ongoing response to our NJGPA performance, we will take several steps to support student success. As always, as we do each year, we will continue reviewing NJGPA results during departmental discussions to set clear data-driven goals. We will ensure that our curriculum instruction and assessment remains aligned with specific skills tested by the NJGPA. And because math remains an area for growth, we will implement targeted interventions with a focus on differentiated support to meet diverse students' needs. We will continue to use our benchmark assessment data, specifically STAR 360, to guide our instructional planning. And for students who need additional help and are eligible, we will continue to offer tutoring beyond the school day to ensure they have every opportunity to succeed. Next slide, please. So once again, thank you for your partnership and support. Thank you to the administration, the teachers, the community, the parents, support staff for their commitment to what we do every day and to our students. And that concludes the presentation. And Ms. Richter, that concludes my very long superintendent's report.
Thank you. Yes.
Question.
Okay, yeah, thank you. All right, do we have, thank you for your presentation. Do we have questions or comments from board members on tonight's agenda or any other topic presentations you saw tonight?
Just have a follow-up question about, we talked about targeted interventions. How quickly does that happen in the school year for students that are not proficient?
You talk louder, people can't hear you.
Sure.
Sorry.
So my question was, she talked about targeted interventions. And so I'm curious, how quickly does that start or happen in the school year for those students that are identified?
Correct. So it depends on the source of funding that we're using. I know we're still waiting for our ESEA funding from the federal government to provide those interventions. Can take approximately, to identify the students and get all of the paperwork done, that could take about 30 days, so up to a month. However, teachers have data at their fingertips when they walk into the school year. Within the first week of school, we are administering our STAR 360 benchmark assessment, and those results are immediate. And so our staff, our administration, they are able to use those results to begin to determine how to help students. The other thing I will say is that providing targeted intervention is not really new to our staff. They already have, I would say, tools in their toolbox to pull from. So it's a matter of teachers coming in, having access to the data, and observing their students for the first few weeks of school, and starting the support there within the classroom. And then any support that happens outside the classroom is typically within the first 4 to 6 weeks of school.
How telling is the NJGPA, is that?
PA.
NJGPA.
NJGPA compared to NJSLA? Is NJSLA, are you specifically for math, the achievement rate or the passing rate was proficiency rate was 75%. Is that what you see in the NJSLA data as well, or is there a misalignment in those two results?
So it's difficult to tell because on the NJSLA, it's disaggregated by math course. So algebra, geometry. So it's difficult to tell that. It would take, a little bit of a look-see, but the NJSLA is a more comprehensive assessment than the NJGPA, I will say. So it just depends on taking a look at the individual course, but they are two different assessments.
Right, the reason I'm asking this is that the NJGPA is taken in junior year. And at that point, it's really too late to do much for the, well, in 11th grade to do any remedial, we have 1 year left. Can we get, in other words, can we find out about it sooner, earlier through the NJSLA so that these students who need additional support can get support way before they take the.
Well, students take the NJSLA every year starting in grade 3. So we do have data on those students for years prior to them, if they are, with us and if they take it, prior to them taking the NJGPA. It's just that it's a very different assessment, so it's comparing apples to oranges.
And how do we ensure that, work with the classroom instructors so that these test results are being considered as they deliver the lessons, how to address that?
Yes, so I will just give you an example. Last year, at the start of the school year, there were department meetings, just for math, for an example. The math department took a look at sample questions. They dissected them, and they started to take a look at the types of questions that they ask in their internal assessments. And so to try to balance out the question types. The same was done with the NJSLA, particularly also for science. So it's a matter of looking at that and yes, the content and the standard, but also how is that standard being assessed in each content area can make a difference.
I'm cautious that we don't look at the matrix or one test to define our student body. I'm very cautious that we don't do that. I think that there's a lot of opportunity also in the math area.
Yeah, so I'm glad you said that because one test doesn't define a student. So we look at multiple measures as well as what that student does in the classroom every day during independent practice, participation. So we look at these assessments as one source of data, but teachers who consider the student in a more comprehensive way, we rely heavily on our STAR 360 benchmark assessment, as well as our internal assessments and our common assessments that are given in math.
I hope that when students get these test results, that they know, to use that as a way to help them as well, and not be discouraged by one single number. They really take the opportunity.
Yeah, I understand. I think it's also important to remember that students have been taking standardized assessments by the time they become a junior, unless they are new to our country or new to New Jersey. They've been taking these types of standardized assessments for years.
Yeah, just that, 15 points differential between the math and reading is excellent.
Yes, and if you look at that, that's across the state as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do any other board members have questions or comments on anything else besides the presentation? Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Another question on PPP. So there's a position there for today custodian. But we recently voted on this individual for nighttime custodian. Does that mean that we're going to ultimately fill that nighttime custodian position, or are we vacating that?
So it's not going to be vacated. The way yes. So the way the contract reads is that the custodians are assigned based on seniority. And so depending on where that custodian falls, they may be entitled to a certain time of day. So that's why there's that change, but it doesn't mean that the evening position is vacated. We had to do a restructuring of custodians.
I want to thank you, Diane. I know it's been a lot on your plate in delivering this full report on top of the new responsibilities that you have acquired. So thank you very much for taking the time and continue to do everything that is asked of you. Regarding the agenda 2S, I don't know much about this security company. I know that they have met with others on the board. I know in the past, parents have asked that when we switch new companies, that the security guards that are already that already have a relationship in certain buildings, that they be retained. Is this also going to be a practice that can be continue with the new company?
Yes, we are looking to do that, yes.
And I want to thank you for also responding on 13F that we are listing usage of facilities. We do have a policy in place, obviously, for various groups to use proper channel to apply for the usage of space. So thank you for sharing that information right now, so we can have other community groups know how to do it and transparent about the usage of.
No, absolutely. Moving forward, we will be revising the chart to provide more information.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good with comments and questions? Okay. Before we open the floor to the public, Mr. Taylor is going to read the walk-in resolution that we talked about in executive session.
Good evening, board members. Thank you, Madam President. The resolution reads as follows. Motion to approve the submission of an application for minor subdivision approval, as well as any related documents and filings by the Borough of Fort Lee to the Planning Board of the Borough of Fort Lee related to the potential subdivision of the property known as the 10th Street Baseball Field, a portion of the property known as Block 2951, Lot 2, on the tax map of the Borough of Fort Lee. The board president, interim acting superintendent, and/or board council are authorized to take any actions necessary to facilitate the preparation and submission of the application.
What's the number gonna be?
Oh yeah, what number is that on the agenda? It's 4. 4 is in board, isn't it? 4B?
It can be 4B is fine.
4 what?
4B is in boy. 4B.
4B is a boy.
Yes. All right, may I have a motion to open the floor to the public?
Motion.
Motion Rubino, second Curry, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Okay, we will hear first from any members of the public physically located in the cafeteria tonight, then we will take questions and comments from those participating remotely. Participants are all limited to 3 minutes in which to make their statement. For remote public participants, please select the raise hand button. Mr. Ruggiero will recognize each community member in order of the raised hands. Please unmute your microphone. Everyone, please state your name and address for the record and begin your comments. Again, you are limited to 3 minutes. Do we have members of the public present this evening with us who wish to speak? Come on up.
Put it down.
Yeah.
I would like to talk about our bus system at the school. Now, I say everything with respect, but this is
Hold on one second. He's gonna get a different
Hold
microphone.
on, Anastasia. Maybe just hold the
Yeah.
microphone.
Here you
Just
go.
hold it really close so everyone can hear you.
Yeah. Talk a little louder.
really good. My name is Anastasia and I live on Road 1. I would like to talk about our bus system for the school. to talk about safety. Because if you have to walk to school, it's gonna be very unsafe. Not that long ago, I was at my garage and I was coming up just to go to my apartment building. I walked past this man, nothing big, nothing important. Well, actually, he's not a good children. Now, as you guys can see, I'm very young, so I did not know what was going on. I did not understand. And I would like to talk about the crosswalk. There's a bunch of crosswalks on the school. Now, I do not want there to be an accident. There to be an accident to be happening to me, because there are not a lot of safe drivers. So I do not worry. If I car or any accident part of it, and I would also like talk about the academic studies. Now, what does this have to do with it? What does this have to do with anything? Well, when I figure out that there's a test coming, I like to study a lot. So when I get home, if I don't have to walk, and when I get home, it's gonna take a while for me to get home, which takes time off my studying. So then I have to do it late. So I have to stay up late to do my homework, which I can't, which is gonna be a huge mess. So I asked you to please let us use the bus. Yeah, this is not very fair. Thank you for your time. And I also have one more question. What kind of support will the district give to the families who don't qualify for the subscription and busing and need help to get to school?
Thank you for your comment, Anastasia. I'm very proud of you and I'm happy that you come to our schools. I hear you. Thank you for coming out tonight and sharing your perspective. You actually make our schools very proud that you did that. As I stated in the superintendent's report, information regarding busing will be shared with families this week. We are looking to add to our current buses through leasing. So we are hoping to fill those 2 buses in addition to additional seats that we have available.
Anyone else in the room wish to speak?
I know. Time is counting down as of now.
Jason started the clock already. Good evening. My name is Keith Goslin, 2185 Lemoyne Avenue. Just going to talk about a few things, and then I have one question. I wanted to just invite everybody to the Fort Lee Night Out tomorrow, where we celebrate our first responders, and also it's the launch of the Quiet House, so we're all very excited. There's been like 1 million people that made that Quiet House happen, from the parents that started this advocacy in Fort Lee, the Friends of Diverse Learners Group, Sarah and Preeti, Casey and Andrew and Cynthia and Smita and Nancy. It's just been like an avalanche, and what we found that they did for me and my family was they made us feel not alone about Mackenzie. So it's pretty cool. And how good they made us feel is why we continue to do what we do, because we don't want any family in this town to ever feel alone, no matter what they're up against. So that's what that Quiet House is. So I don't even have enough time, even though I got 1:53 to thank everybody that touched that. But special thanks to the mayor, Mark and Harvey Sommer, Brian Drungle, Mike Maresca, Dennis Riano, who did all the work in building this thing. It's amazing, and I invite you all to come see it. It's really gonna be awesome, and we're super excited. And the only thing I wanted to ask about, and I might have saw this come one day, when will parents find out about bus tracking? And what they need to do or download or whatever?
That will be prior to the start of the school year, so within the next 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Are there?
Good evening, Andrew Smith, District 6, Bridgeport North. Just to remind everyone, on August 29th, it will be, the FLBOE is having the second annual special education parents large group meet and greet. Will be at the middle school on the 29th, it is at 10 a.m. So we encourage all parents and their guardians, students that have a 504 or an IP to please come, meet the child's study team and meet the administration. It's very, very informal. Again, we're very excited. This is the second hour, so please come on down and show support. Thank you.
Thank you.
And right, the date is August 27th.
Oh, 27?
Wednesday, August
Okay.
27th.
Okay, all right.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Hi, Steph Cutzel, South Hudson Road, Courtney, New Jersey. Can is it on?
Yes.
Because sometimes it's really hard to hear when you're online. People don't speak into the mic. So I have a few different questions. I don't know if it's easier to answer it. So we have 2 out of placement districts on one CUR that are $186,000 for 2 students plus 17,000 busing for one. The second says no busing, right? I just wanted to make sure. Or is that to be determined? With the Valley program, that's question 1.
What, are you referring to one CUR?
Yeah, 1 CUR. So 2 children, is there any way that we can get better deals, or is it just that's what the cost is?
That's what the cost is.
Okay, so the Union Street School and the Valley program school, and were these the kids that we said we were gonna try to bring back into district? We were gonna expand our special ed and then have them brought back into district, because I thought we had, that had been said in another meeting, that we were trying to expand that here so that we didn't have such high costs. The other question I have is here, on 7F, the non-resident special education students, so are these students that we're bringing into our school, but they need special education help?
So if I may just ask all your questions and then
Well, I
the
want to get
administration.
answers just specifically on each one.
Okay, so-
Yeah, is that a yes or a no? I can't figure it out from what I'm reading.
Okay, so just
And
what,
then the first student says 1-4, Tenafly Board of Ed, grade 10. And then on 8F, it also is a social security or SID or whatever that is, ending in 1-4, but that says Portly School, grade 12. I'm just trying to figure out what the difference really is between 7F and 8F, and tuition rates to be determined by the business office. And then the 12F, are these NGOs giving us the money? Because this is non-public entitled grants. Do we have the name list of who is giving us the money?
The state.
So the state,
Okay.
it's very simple to just, the state is giving the money.
so just,
finish your
just respectfully, the simple protocol that the board has established is that members
Okay,
of the
well, I
public.
would also like
Ma'am,
for
can
the
I
board to
Ma'am, can I just finish what I'm saying?
recheck
please?
that. That's one of my things. When there's simple point questions, if as a board, they could just be answered like simply.
No, but it's not a back and forth.
Not a
It's
back and
ask.
That's
So the
one of your
the
questions.
protocol-
Maybe we could bring it up to the board to vote on.
No.
So the
So,
protocol
do you
pursuant to
make-
the Open Public Meetings Act. And
Okay.
we'll suspend your time, we'll give you more time, but. The protocol, as you are well aware, is that the
No,
board
that was.
gives the public the opportunity to speak during public comment. You can
Right,
make
but
your
you said
comments.
that was
you can
your
ask
own
your
agenda, that you
questions.
wanted all the questions
So ma'am,
asked.
respectfully, I wasn't cutting you off when you were speaking. I just
Right.
want to give my response to you and other members who may be listening. Again, as you are aware, because you are a frequent attendee of meetings, whether it be online or in person.
Well, that's
The
why I'm
board-
asking the
The
question.
board respectfully gives you the opportunity to ask your questions make your comments. At the end of your questions or comments, if you have a lot of time, the administration and their board will respond so that it doesn't devolve into a back and forth, and it doesn't, quite frankly, take up your time. Because one answer may take all your time, and then you still are asking why you can't have more time to speak. That being said, I would advise Ms. Collazo not to respond to your questions about individual students. To the extent you have, because you're identifying individual agenda items which relate to individual students, those individual students, as you may know, have certain privacy rights under state and federal law. So the administration cannot and is advised not to comment directly
Well, are
on
these
those
different
students.
students is my question.
So if you have,
That's my question.
if there's
Are
a-
these different students or is it a typo?
if
That's
there
one.
is a general response about special education policy and rights and obligations, by all means, you can respond. But I can share with you that under the IDEA, Individuals with Disability Education Act, which is a federal statute that the state is required to comply with, individuals with special needs, i.e. students who are identified as in need of special services, are entitled to certain services, transportation, education, in district, out of district. Those services are triggered by what's called an IEP, an individual education plan. And so to the extent that plan requires transportation, the district has an obligation to provide that within the confines of the law.
So what is
Thank
our total number for IDEA for our school that we are paying every year? That's one question. Between transportation and education and out of district placement. I just want the number, what our school is paying and what amount of kids are involved in that actual number I would like.
I'm sure the business office with the superintendent's direction can get that for you and
Well,
provide it at their time. That's something they can't answer off the top of their head. I can guarantee you
Okay,
that.
so I would like it made public on a public paper for the stakeholders of our town to know what is the IDEA amount that we are paying, the amount of students that we have, the transportation cost and the bus school cost. That I would like.
Okay, thank
That's
you.
one
Also,
question.
your time is actually up next. You heard the music
It's
earlier.
not, you kept talking.
But your
Number
time is-
12F, the payments, that was the other thing. The supervisor of special education, this is a new position for
All right, can you wrap up your questions?
$110,000.
Because before Lester started speaking, your time was
No,
up.
it was not.
Yes, it was. You're well past 3 minutes, even with his speaking.
These are my questions about what you put to the
Yes.
public. They
Last
don't make
question.
sense.
You have
They do
3
not make sense. I would like
minutes.
clarification on some of them. I'll
If
write
your
it.
questions have not been answered, you can email.
Okay, so I'm waiting for the answers.
So I think you responded to 12F. I think there was the only one that might warrant a response.
12F, that's funding that we receive from the department, from the state.
That's good.
For non-public entitlement.
Correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Thank you.
Is there anyone else left sitting in the audience that wishes to speak before we go to our remote? Okay, Jason,
There are no raised hands.
thank
Oh,
you.
wait, I'm sorry, we got a raised hand. Mihail, you've been promoted to panelist. Please unmute your microphone and feel free to share your video. Please state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so Mihail Comanescu, 254 Tom Hunter Road. And I would like to yield my time to Stephanie because I thought she was asking some interesting questions. I didn't get any answers fully. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Are there any other raised hands?
There are no more raised hands.
May I have a motion to
Motion.
close the
Second.
floor? Motion Morel, second Rubino, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Okay, may I have a motion to approve items 1B through walk-in resolution 4B?
Motion. Second.
Motion Morel, second Koteng, roll call please.
Mrs. Byers King. Ms. Colback. Mrs. Curry.
Yes.
Mr. Knight. Mrs. Cote.
Yes.
Mr. Lopez.
Yes.
Ms. Morel.
Yes.
Mr. Rubino.
Yes.
Mrs. Richter.
Yes. I have a motion to approve items 1B and G through 2B and G.
Motion.
Second.
Motion Morel, second Rubino, roll call please.
Mrs. Byers King. Ms. Colback. Mrs. Curry,
Yes.
Mr. Knight, Mrs. Cote,
Yes.
Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
Ms. Morel.
Yes.
Mr. Rubino,
Yes.
Mrs. Richter.
Yes. May I have a motion to approve items 1F through 2F, 1S through 2S?
Motion.
Motion Curry, second Morel, roll call please.
Mrs. Byers King, Ms. Colback, Mrs. Curry,
Yes.
Mr. Knight, Mrs. Cote,
Yes.
Mr. Lopez.
Yes.
Ms. Morel,
Yes.
Mr. Rubino,
Yes.
Mrs. Richter.
Yes. May I have a motion to approve items 1 CUR through 3 CUR?
Motion.
Second.
Motion Morel, second Kotang, roll call please.
Mrs. Byers King, Ms. Colback, Mrs. Curry,
Yes.
Mr. Knight, Mrs. Cote,
Yes.
Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
Ms. Morel.
Yes.
Mr. Rubino,
Yes.
Mrs. Richter.
Yes. May I have a motion to approve items 1F through 15F?
Motion.
Motion Rubino, second Curry, roll call please.
Mrs. Byers King, Ms. Colback, Mrs. Curry,
Yes.
Mr. Knight, Mrs. Cote,
Yes.
Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
Ms. Morel,
Yes.
Mr. Rubino.
Yes.
Mrs. Richter.
Yes. May I have a motion to approve items 1P through 25P?
Motion.
Second.
Motion Morel, second Rubino, roll call please.
Mrs. Byers King, Ms. Colback, Mrs. Curry,
Yes.
Mr. Knight, Mrs. Cote,
Yes.
Mr. Lopez,
Yes, I abstain on 3P.
Ms. Morel,
Yes.
Mr. Rubino.
Yes.
Mrs. Richter.
Yes. Moving on, is there any old business? Okay, is there any new business?
Just wanted to comment on, we have 25 personnel items. I imagine the HR office has been super busy. So I want to thank everyone for onboarding new people and please extend a welcome to everyone who's new to our district for you to join us. Block scheduling is going to start at the high school.
Yes.
Prior to school start, we can have a brief reminder to parents, what that means for their kids. So I think that'll be helpful. Just to refresh everyone's memory, what that new schedule looked like. And I want to thank the entire board for working through the busing issue. We know what's legal and what's right can sometimes be two different things. So I thank you all for working so hard in the business office. Thank you.
Thank you.
Also in the audience tonight, we have our new special education supervisor of special education, Mr. Anthony Moscato. We are really excited to have him. And also we have Miss Mariette NG, who was just approved to be our new elementary school #1 principal. So that you learn their faces, they were gracious enough to appear tonight at the board meeting. So welcome, congratulations.
Thank you for coming tonight. Doug, you had something? No? Okay. May I have a motion? Oh,
hold on.
reminder, go ahead, Mike.
There you go. Sorry, thank God. In case you guys have been in prison or anything, Wednesday starts the 96 St. Rocco Festival. It's our 96th year doing it. We're grateful that we have our 11th and 12th graders volunteer, help us out, plus the adults to help us out. Fort Lee's oldest tradition, and we're gonna keep on going with it.
Okay, thank you.
And you have settlers.
Definitely.
Okay, may I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Motion Rubino, second Morel, roll call. Oh, sorry, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.